The following is a presentation of the Pro Wrestling Report. Television, radio, internet, the world. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN, ESPNMilwaukee.com, and Blog Talk Radio. We're live with a special Wednesday night edition of the Pro Wrestling Report, April 27, 2011. David Hero, this is monumental. It is our last show of April.
That's monumental?
Well, it's a big deal when you make a big deal of it.
You're just happy to get out of the month of April. It's been a rough month for you.
It's been a great month for me. I'm winning. Damian Nelson here from the beautiful downtown studios of 540 ESPN in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, along with David Octavius of Tiberius, the alleged Hall of Famer Hero.
They're going to rename this building the Fort Knox Studios pretty soon.
You know, it's a federal building.
You got to know people to get in here.
Oh, I know people.
Mm-hmm. Pop stars and everybody.
Thank you so much for joining us wherever you are all over the world. And a lot to talk about tonight. A very eventful last 2 days in professional wrestling. David Hero. The draft from WWE live on Raw Monday night, and then the supplemental draft on Tuesday at WWE.com. We have asked you for your feedback on the draft and asking you who you think the MVPs are for each brand and who the not-so-great pick is for both WWE, Raw, and SmackDown. We're going to be entering the phone zone at the bottom of the hour, taking your phone calls. The number, 414-276-ESPN, 414-276-3776, are all over the world, toll-free at 1-800-990-3776. I want to welcome Twitter user Robert Cuevas, who's listening from the Dominican Republic tonight, David.
Tremendous.
Obviously because of me.
Fantastic.
And also Twitter user Ciano316, listening from Dublin, Ireland, live tonight. And all of our great listeners here in southeastern Wisconsin on our home station, 540 ESPN. The draft, David Hero, so much to talk about. And tonight we're going to take the fans' take on it, really.
Really?
Because this Friday on Primetime, we're going to talk about the winners and losers of the 2011 WWE Draft. And I'm not sure it's as obvious as many of you may think it is at this point in time, because WWE, David Hero, a little bit of a preview, you have said off air that it was one of the smartest, if not the best drafts they've ever done.
The most well-written, the best draft in the history of WWE drafting.
Better than 2004, 2005.
Absolutely.
Better than when the brands actually mattered.
What?
Better than when the brands actually mattered.
No, not at all.
So it wasn't the best ever.
No, this was the best draft. I've only said it like 3 or 4 times, and you're not even listening to me. Yes, the best draft ever. Hands down. Alicia Fox is on SmackDown. Come on. It doesn't get much better than that.
The Pro Wrestling Report is on Facebook, facebook.com/Pro Wrestling Report, facebook.com/Pro Wrestling Report for all the continued discussion. And we put 4 questions out there earlier, David Hero, specifically, who was Raw's best pick, who was Raw's worst pick, who was SmackDown's best and SmackDown's worst pick as well.
Raw's best pick was obviously Alberto Del Rio.
Nobody asked you. Did you answer on Facebook?
No, I can't. I'm blocked.
You're not blocked. You made a request, and it was honored.
Okay. And then the worst pick was Kurt Hawkins. Who's that jabroni?
So here are the results. The Raw MVP.
Oh, you're not going to ask me what I think?
No, not at all. The Raw best choice, according to all of our great listeners and viewers out there, was, as you just said, David Hero, Alberto Del Rio to Raw.
ADR.
Was that the pick of the draft?
No.
Was not the pick of the draft?
No.
ADR is your guy.
He is my guy, but he wasn't the pick of the draft.
All right. Well, the fans thought so and thought that he was the most valuable player going over to Raw. Would you agree with that statement?
He's the best draft pick going to Raw, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But look at now what Del Rio will be going into. John Cena, The Miz, The Rock, eventually Triple H, CM Punk. He's no longer the top 2 or 3 guy on his brand. He's now number 5.
Alberto Del Rio, number 5.
Yes.
Huh. It's in the main event at Extreme Rules this Sunday. May walk into Raw with the World Heavyweight
He
Championship.
very well could be, but you're forgetting something, Damian.
I don't forget anything. Picture
he is now going to have to share the spotlight
with The Miz.
with
Yeah,
John
that's going to be a
Cena
challenge.
and The Miz.
It's going to be a challenge. But, okay, so Alberto Del Rio, did he stand out so much because he was on SmackDown and the pool was a little more shallow than being on Raw?
He was over the top on SmackDown. Nobody could touch him as far as his presence, his charisma. He's just a great talent. And he got himself over. You know, I mean, he had the elaborate entrance, the 6-figure car. He had, his...
and he still has all that. You think they're going to walk away from that?
No, but what I'm saying is, on SmackDown, that's how he became the big star. His own ring announcer, the scarf.
But isn't that what SmackDown's for?
Yes, it's to develop.
SmackDown
is to develop and have an investment for these newer stars. That
Raw is pan-seared. SmackDown is slow-broiled. What I mean by that is...
I know what you mean. I know how to cook.
That's why I use that analogy. I'm trying to bring it down to your level.
Pan-seared, they want to keep the juices in. Right?
SmackDown is where people have more of an opportunity to get more invested in a character because in general, they're going to give more time to people on SmackDown.
Well, yeah, because they're developing the newer stars, the younger talent. That's why they sent guys like the Usos and DVD and Ted DiBiase Jr., and Alex Riley to SmackDown.
A-Rai.
That guy, him too.
Well, are you surprised that is the best pick for Raw according to the PWR fans out there?
No, because Del Rio is the best pick for Raw.
God, you've contradicted yourself more than Donald Trump lately.
He's the best pick that could go to Raw from SmackDown.
All right.
Right?
Yes, you're right, David Hero.
Exactly. But it's not the best scenario for Del Rio is what I'm saying.
The worst pick to Raw, according to the listeners and viewers out there, was John Cena back to Raw, which I think is wrapped up more in emotion than anything else. Yeah. People feel gypped.
Well, you know what that feels like. You think you have something only to lose it?
Like 200 points to your 185?
Sure.
Just saying.
Sure. Exactly.
Cheater. The next runner-up was JTG.
Cheater. Who?
JTG.
Just that
formerly
gangster?
one half. Is that what that means?
Yeah.
You know what LL Cool J means?
Yeah, ladies love Cool J. Dude, I'm cultured. Like,
do you know what NKOTBSB means?
No, I have no idea. Do you?
Well, yeah, I follow pop culture.
Okay.
I'm going to the royal wedding,
I thought that was hilarious. Invitation came a little late.
Harry invited me.
Mm-hmm. Harry Smith. Bulldog Jr., of course.
I'm not going to that ding on wedding. There's no chance. While I wish them the best, I can't believe how sensationalized this nuptial has become.
Damian, this chick is set for life.
I'm proud of her. I'm proud for her.
Listen, she will put up with whatever comes her way because she is going to eventually be the Queen of England.
Which means what nowadays?
Well,
we throw that out to our UK listeners.
Listen.
What? You better watch what you say because the PWR UK tour is being finalized.
He could pull a Tiger Woods and she's not going to leave him.
Golf clubs or rugby poles?
It'll be drivers and wedges nonstop. Okay?
What do you mean? Tiger's my idol.
That's fine. But I'm just saying
Bill Clinton.
Is Little Prince can have the bachelor party do whatever she's not leaving. She is going to be the future Queen of England.
John Cena, was he indeed the worst pick to Raw?
No, not at all.
Without the emotion, had we not been pulled then pushed then pulled.
Listen, it sucked that he wound up back on Raw.
Really?
It would have been cool to see.
I thought it was brilliant.
It was brilliant. It was almost like the Miz going back and forth. But I mean, just to have.
What do you mean the Miz going back and forth? The Miz wasn't drafted. He wasn't draftable because he's that damn good.
The Miz was drafted by me, traded to you.
Oh, I've moved on.
Aced back to me.
I've moved on, bro.
But the fact of the matter is this: it would have been nice to have seen John Cena on SmackDown.
The phone not on vibrate?
SmackDown on for a week or two.
Well, we'll talk more about SmackDown and the best and worst choice according to all of you. And that voting occurred on our Facebook page, as I said, facebook.com/Pro Wrestling Report. I want to remind everybody listening to us on Blog Talk Radio, we are live there as well, obviously. And we want you to do us a favor and follow the show so you never miss an episode. We're consistently ranked in the top 5 sports shows on all of Blog Talk Radio. Couldn't do it without you guys. And join us in the chat room at Blog Talk Radio. Lots of discussion there going on about Kurt Hawkins, superstars, and so much more. He's a WWE superstar.
When was the last time he was on TV?
What does that matter?
I'm just asking.
You watch Superstars?
No.
Online?
No.
Why not? You're supposed to be a broadcast opinionist.
Exactly.
When we come back, we're going to be taking your phone calls. Dial in the number 414-276-ESPN, 414-276-3776, all over the world at 1-800-990-ESPN, 1-800-990-3776. Remember, you pick the theme songs. This is the fan show. You pick the theme songs. You do so on our Facebook page. You never know what we're going to come back with, and we will do so in just a moment. This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
540 ESPN. The sports Milwaukee cares about all day long on 540 ESPN.
It's me. It's me. It's DDP.
Welcome back to the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN, streaming live at ESPNMilwaukee.com and on Blog Talk Radio. That's a good one. Will Jones, one of our listeners, picked that.
It's me. It's DDP.
How funny is that?
I love it. I love DDP. Go ahead. Forget it.
Will Jones on Facebook selected that. You can hop on over to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Pro Wrestling Report. Every week, you get to select the themes we use, much to David Hero's chagrin. You know what? But did you hear David Hero? Every week now, the last break, you get the superhero pick of the week.
I do?
Yeah. It's like your own Billboard Top 1 list. You get to pick a song. The final break.
I like it.
Yeah, of course. You're taking time away from our listeners for yourself.
It's in the contract. What? It's about the contract.
I know it is. But what about Al Snow? Big event this Friday.
No, Friday night. Great Lakes.
How about that midget story, by the way? You know, I have to apologize.
No,
I have to
apologize.
I mistakenly and I inadvertently got a miscue from one of the interns here and came into the studio at the wrong time and, had to cut Al Snow's conversation short. But check us out at pwrshow.com, and all of you got the opportunity to hear that tremendous story about Al Snow and the Six Dwarfs.
It was, when you heard the story,
made it all worth it.
Absolutely, it's hilarious. He gets speared off of wood blocks in an IHOP. But I know Al Snow and the Head will be in Cedarburg, Wisconsin on Friday night, about 20 minutes north of Milwaukee, for Great Lakes Championship Wrestling at the Circle B. Tickets start at just $10. Even the Skull Crusher, Rashi Brown, will be out there as well this Friday night. Go to blizzardbrawl.com for more information. It's going to be tremendous. Al Snow and Head. It's what everybody wants.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You know what? Speaking of Head, that was my winning coin toss. I chose Head.
Why are you hung up on this? I'm surprised you're still talking about this since I'm beating your tail so handedly.
Because you know what? Because I'm bothered how you cheated. Because the draft selection was you got like a 95,000 points just from the Battle Royal from all your mid-card guys.
I got 75.
Ridiculous.
You got 20. But at the end of the night, it was only a 20-point difference. So why don't you stop your crying? Cry, baby.
Listen, it's because it wasn't part of the original plan.
Let's talk about the WWE draft and SmackDown's picks, and the MVP voted on, the best pick for SmackDown, voted on by all the great listeners out there, was Randy Orton, who many say are stepping into the place of Edge on SmackDown.
He is taking Edge's place on SmackDown. And it's a great spot for Randy Orton to go because now he doesn't have to compete with The Miz and John Cena on the Raw brand. Now SmackDown is his show. How about that?
Indeed, and Randy Orton, we had talked about his swimming in the pool of obscurity for the last few weeks, if not months. and now a purpose, a vision, a direction, and a new home on SmackDown. And the fans out there seem to think that he is SmackDown's best pick from the draft this past Monday night.
He's the most obvious pick. I don't know if he's the best. I think Bryan Danielson can be a big player. I also think that Sheamus can definitely be a huge draw on the SmackDown brand.
If there was a worst pick for the SmackDown brand, according to all of you listeners out there, it was the great Khali, who moves on over to SmackDown. And we're going to see something interesting, apparently, what happens on SmackDown this Friday night. Maybe a new character being introduced with Rajan Singh and the great Khali.
Well, we can't talk about it because that would be a spoiler. So we'll just have to wait and see now on Friday night.
You're not spoiling till you give results, I thought. I thought that was what was in the playbook.
I know how you operate.
Can you hand me, Sylvan, can you hand me that playbook?
And you slip up sometimes.
Thank you.
You let things fly that shouldn't be flying.
I have never fallen asleep in my job. Never.
You guys are too much.
Let's go to the phone lines, and let's go to Antoine in Atlanta, Georgia. On line 2. Antoine, you're live here on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Hey, how you guys doing tonight?
Tremendous. 200.
That's good. About the draft, do you guys think it would be better if it was like a week long, like start on Raw and end on SmackDown?
Oh, no. I'd be bored.
It would get old real fast. It would get old real fast, but I will say I was shocked that WWE did 30 supplemental draft picks at .com on Tuesday, and it's brilliant on their part. Think of all the traffic they got.
30 picks. There's 30
total.
total.
I'm sorry. Exactly. There were 30 total, so they did about 25 or 20 or 25 picks on Tuesday throughout the course of the day, and they did it very smartly because sometimes 2 would roll out, then 3, then 1, then an hour would go by, and then a couple more.
They made us wait.
Absolutely, and that's what they're so brilliant at. But you'd rather see it happen starting on Monday and ending on the SmackDown on Friday. Interesting perspective, but I would venture to say I would venture to say it gets a little boring by that time.
Well, it's really done within 2 days because they taped SmackDown on Tuesday, so it could be done by Tuesday night. But you know what? They do it right because it's all about being on Raw, and that's where it begins and ends, is on Raw, Monday night, USA.
Antoine, who did you think was the most surprising pick overall in the draft? Moving
the most surprising pick?
Yeah.
I would think, to me, it would be the Big Show going back to Raw and, kind of splitting up the Kane Big Show tag team.
They have to. You can't have Kane and Big Show be tag team champions for so long. They're used as a purpose to get other guys over. That purpose is going to happen
Slater
on
and
Sunday.
Gabriel?
Yes. And now send Big Show to Raw, or who knows, maybe he can feud with his former tag team partner, The Miz.
Antoine from Atlanta, were you at WrestleMania 27?
No, but I was at that. And
oh, tremendous.
I caused quite a ruckus when The Miz won. So.
Well, congratulations to you, and thanks for coming down to Stats, a great place down in Atlanta for the PWR meetup. Antoine from Atlanta, thank you very much for your call. Let's continue on the phone lines. You can join us as the lines become free. The number 414-276-ESPN, 414-276-3776, or all over the world at 1-800-990-ESPN, 1-800-990-3776. And David Hero, is there a qualification for you to be able to call this show?
Well, you got to be able to, make sense, I guess.
Anybody can call, though, right?
No, not anybody. You got to be smart. You got to know what you're going to talk about.
When did you turn heel?
I'm not a heel. It's what the listeners want. They don't want some jabroni to call in and not know what they're going to talk about.
All this pressure you just put on Andre from Philadelphia, who's calling us on line 3.
Andre's going to be just fine.
Andre, you're live here on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Fantastic.
I just want to make a quick comment about the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that SmackDown made out pretty good this time, considering that Raw usually dominates the draft in past years. I think the drafting of Sheamus and Bryan Danielson will really help that roster out.
There is no doubt that SmackDown came out ahead in the draft, but there's also no doubt that especially with the loss of Edge, SmackDown had to, and as we're going to talk about Friday night on PWR Primetime Television, SmackDown did indeed gain substantially, and it gained a lot of people who need to be on SmackDown.
Yeah, a lot of people were commenting. They was wondering why they took off Rey Mysterio over to Raw and drafted Sin Cara to SmackDown, because I think a lot of people want to see that match. I think it's because WWE really wants to build up Sin Cara's character first, so that match can have some sort of build before they just throw those two into the ring together?
Yeah, that's a big match when it happens. I would venture to say we might see that in Miami at WrestleMania 28 because it is huge, and not just huge for WWE domestically, but certainly huge for WWE south of the border where Felix Alberto is listening to us from in Mexico City. And I believe, I may be wrong, but I believe WWE has announced they're going to be doing some TV from Mexico City coming up by the end of this year. Huge business.
Sin Cara is on SmackDown so they can edit out his entrances and make his stuff look cleaner and crisper in the ring. That's what it comes down to. And for Rey Mysterio, it's a better schedule for him to be on Raw. That's all. That's what it is.
Well, there's no doubt that there's a better schedule for Rey Mysterio, seeing that he's had so many injuries in the past couple of years. I just think that I think a lot of people are jumping the gun on the match. I think
I
really
could
need to
see
build the match first.
The Miz working with Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know, it's a guy almost the Miz's height that he can work with, and you know what? Rey Mysterio is a popular.
I heard that, by the way.
Rey Mysterio is a popular star, and I think he could give some legitimacy to a guy that has yet to beat anybody.
Yeah, that's true also. But I think they're gonna they might throw anything at the Miz at this point because he really doesn't have a contender for his title at this point.
No, he doesn't.
Andre from Philadelphia, thank you very much for that call. Again, you can join us on the phone lines, the number 414-276-ESPN, or all over the world at 1-800-990-ESPN, 1-800-990-ESPN. We're also on Twitter. David Hero, our Twitter username is @PWR Show.
Why are you telling me? I know.
@PWR
I follow
Show.
you.
And also, if you want to follow all the happenings of the Pro Wrestling Report draft, which, God, Monday looked a little familiar, didn't it?
Yeah. Creative owes us a few pennies.
@PWR Draft on Twitter, @PWR Draft on Twitter, and we'll be interacting with all of you all over the world on Twitter and all of our other social media streams. When we come back, we're going to talk more about WWE Raw from this past Monday night. We're going to take a look back at Extreme Rules from last year. A little bit of turmoil in TNA, at least if you believe what you're reading out there. Awesome Kong gets named, and Batista no longer with a home. This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN, streaming live at ESPNMilwaukee.com.
540 ESPN. Talk Packers all day long on 540 ESPN.
Welcome back to the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. We're live Wednesday night, April 27, 2011. Damian Nelson here alongside David Hero, the Kaz, and Linda Kay out on a hot date tonight.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
I mean, they thought they got the show dates confused. It's around a special night and time and made a date of their own.
Yeah, they got.
Remember, they're in love.
They are in love. Han Solo and Princess Leia.
Thank you, Lucas Cabrera, who suggested Test's theme to use coming out of that break.
Tester, I miss the guy. I really do. One of the nicest guys in the wrestling business you'd ever meet.
We are taking your phone calls, your tweets, your chat in our chat room at Blog Talk Radio, and your comments on Facebook. A little overwhelming, David Hero. We threw out there the question of where are you listening from. We have circled the globe. And, I don't understand how some people are listening in some countries because clearly there's a language issue, but it's absolutely great. Mexico,
we're universal.
Colombia, Philippines.
Who doesn't understand the language of wrestling?
That is true. And the language of the Nelson family.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about the WWE draft from this past Monday night. And one question I want to throw out there for our next set of callers as we go back into the phone zone, does the draft even matter anymore? The reason I ask is because you see so much cross-utilization of talents between Raw and SmackDown. Does the draft matter? And I'll play devil's advocate a little bit in advance because clearly Raw had a 10% spike in its ratings this past Monday, obviously did good business at WWE.com, and the discussion about the draft was substantial. So it works from an interest standpoint, but at the end of the day, meaning a month from now, will it have mattered, this draft?
Absolutely. If you're going to have new champions on Sunday on different brands.
Don't spoil Be the Booker, which is coming up this Friday on primetime.
I'm not going to do that.
But many times with the draft, they've whether it be for injury reason or any other reason, they've moved people around after the draft without hoopla or whatever, or made a trade afterwards. You said earlier this was the most thought out and the best draft they've done. This draft had purpose for the business of WWE and the long-term planning of WWE.
They showed their hand. They showed who they feel is ready to go to the next level, and those guys were elevated to Raw. And the ones who they feel need a little more seasoning, a little more investment, a little more TLC, they wound up on SmackDown.
Left eye?
God bless her soul.
Chili?
Oh, I love chili. All different kinds.
Let's go back to... Do you put pasta in your chili?
Yes, Cincinnati, Skyline Chili.
We went to Skyline Chili, and listen, all I got to say is, maybe I said it last week, I don't remember, I was in duress. All I wanted was a bowl of chili.
Yeah.
Not on the menu.
That chili almost put Ken Anderson on the shelf. But that's another story.
Well, the chili eventually did get him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let's go to the phones again. Again, the number, 414-276-ESPN. Phone lines are full right now, so dial in as we take callers to get in where you fit in, or 1-800-990-ESPN. You can always reach us.
Is that like your pickup line or something?
You can always reach us on Twitter at PWR Show, and again, the chat room on Blog Talk Radio. Let's go to Houston, Texas. Regular caller, an old friend, Ricardo. You're live.
Yo, what up, dog?
Hello, Ricardo.
Have you trademarked that yet, Ricardo?
It's already been trademarked, I think.
Do you practice in the mirror? Saying that.
No.
It is Texas.
Ricardo, what'd you think of the WWE draft, and is the draft even relevant anymore?
It is, and it isn't. Because when you think of the draft, you automatically think of Vince McMahon's voice from the first draft.
It's time to shake things up again.
Yes, it is. And then again, it isn't because all the guys lined up on both shows a couple of months later anyway. So really, it does, and it's just there as a gimmick to spike ratings for that Raw.
But we're talking about sports entertainment. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I mean, come on, it's not like it's a true draft. They know where they're going.
Stop it.
What?
That whole Easter incident, those kids are still traumatized from what you told them
That's
when we went to that appearance at the mall.
That's not my fault.
It is your fault. You took the mic and said,
why lie to the kids?
Exist.
Yeah, why lie to the kids? But seriously, you know what? Throw that out on both brands. Who cares?
I don't care. But I'm just saying.
Why are you raising your voice? Don't get hot about it.
I'm not getting hot about
Don't
it.
disagree. It's no problem. It'll be fine.
Okay. Well, I just got two questions. One really quick.
No, Ricardo. Don't you dare let him come close to even having some semblance of a win. The draft, the point you're making, Ricardo, which I agree with, is
what
they do the draft, thus meaning it should matter whether it's a rating stunt or not. And I think that this draft will matter.
Oh, well, sure. You pushed a whole bunch of big players around. Of course, it's not like last year's draft where SmackDown just got the big show and that was it. I mean, this one actually mattered. You got a bunch of big names moving around. This one matters. But that's not what I called. Why I called is I got two really quick questions. Me and my friend did our own draft.
Congratulations.
And I drafted Awesome Kong just like David Hero did.
Mm-hmm.
Smart man.
But now since Awesome Kong has been named Karma, he's saying I'm not allowed to get Awesome Kong.
You know what? Punch him in the mouth. Go over there and punch him in the mouth and say, listen, dummy, there's no question about it. That's Awesome Kong and Karma is the same person.
That's what I told him, and he's saying, no, you drafted Awesome Kong, not Karma.
Do you want Sylvan's number?
No, I want Tillman's number.
Sylvan's number, my attorney,
Oh,
my draft consultant.
Sure.
He can help you through it because I've got him working on that already.
414-915-9292.
I'll be sure.
Normal business hours only, please.
One last thing. This Alberto Del Rio thing, I don't like it.
Wait. Is this question number 2?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't like what's the statement anymore. It's very like I said on the post show. It's very TNA-ish of them to move your biggest draw on SmackDown to Raw. What is he going to do over there? Cena's busy with The Miz. Who is he going to work with?
But he's ready. He's ready to be on the main show. They're getting Randy Orton for Del Rio. It's a fair trade.
Ricardo,
only 2 questions, Ricardo. You're done.
Ricardo down in Houston, thank you very much for that call. He was done, actually, David Hero. Thank you for that call and that conversation. The point, though, that I think Ricardo was making about the draft is it's not relevant because the brands are going to bleed into each other down the road.
In the NFL draft, players are drafted.
That's basketball, right?
Yes. And they play in both the American and the National League. We just named all three sports.
If the draft didn't matter, people wouldn't care, and people clearly cared.
Of course, because it's entertainment. You know what? They want to see what's going to happen. They want to see what's the surprise. That's what it comes down to.
And they got that surprise in the Cena swerve on Raw this past Monday night.
Well done. It's almost deja vu-ish, but yeah, it was well done.
Let's review the list of peeps who got traded, just so that you're on the same page as we are. On the Raw brand, the people moved from SmackDown to Raw include Rey Mysterio, The Big Show, Alberto Del Rio, Jack Swagger, Kelly Kelly, JTG, Drew McIntyre, Kurt Hawkins.
Who?
Chris Masters, Kofi Kingston, Tyler Rex, and Beth Phoenix, the Glamazon.
Was he on NXT?
On their way over to SmackDown, Randy Orton, Mark Henry, Sin Cara, Daniel Bryan, the Great Khali and Rajin Singh, Jimmy Uso, Alicia Fox, yes, William Regal, Yoshitatsu, who, by the way, if you're not following Yoshitatsu on Twitter, do it now. Some of the funniest tweets you'll ever read, only because of how they happen. That's all I'm saying. Natalya, Jey Uso, Ted DiBiase, Tyson Kidd, who I'm almost ready to endorse, by the way.
I think you should.
My only endorsement thus far this year has been Heath Slater.
Mm-hmm.
Tyson Kidd maybe next. Tamina.
You like guys with the different haircuts, don't you?
I'm envious.
I guess.
Alex Riley and Sheamus, former WWE champion.
On SmackDown. I like it.
Much more to come here on the Pro Wrestling Report. We're going to be taking more of your phone calls, talking about what else happened on Raw this past Monday night.
You didn't mention about SmackDown with the draft?
What's that?
What this will now do for Brodus Clay. I wouldn't be surprised if he aligns himself with somebody else, to be someone else's bodyguard on SmackDown.
Well, one thing you failed to mention about the draft, points did count at the PWR draft, and I scored 140 to your 120, putting the final tally, as of now, going into Extreme Rules at 200 to 185.
That's fine.
Winning.
It's a year-long battle. I have main eventers. You have mid-card guys.
Strategy. This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report. We are live on Wednesday, April 27, 2011, on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
The sports Milwaukee cares about all day long on 540 ESPN.
I come from money. I come from
Welcome back to the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN, streaming live at ESPNMilwaukee.com and on Blog Talk Radio. The fans pick the music, David Hero, and that theme song belonging to Ted DiBiase Jr.
I think they picked the wrong Ted DiBiase.
When I was signed with WWE, that was going to be my theme song. Shane was going to be my manager. You know, here comes the money, and I came from money.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But that fell through. Antonio
what a
Gray.
shame.
Antonio Gray selecting that theme song on our Facebook page,
so
Facebook.com/Pro Wrestling Report.
Thousands of wrestling theme songs, Antonio picks Ted DiBiase Jr.
Listen, why do you make it a point to every week step into the studio and attempt to offend at least one of our great listeners?
I'm not offending anybody.
You're picking on this guy's taste in music. Wait until we get to the superhero pick of the week. It's going to be horrible, I'm sure.
It'll be tremendous.
Doubtful.
I got him working on it in the studio right now.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. Anyways, WWE Raw this past Monday night was very impactful and newsworthy. Specifically, R-Truth solidifying himself as a heel, cutting a great promo.
You think that was newsworthy?
I think it was.
I think the announcement for this coming Monday is more newsworthy.
The Rock's birthday party?
The Rock, he's back.
You're that fan, huh?
You know what? The Rock has more charisma in his pinky, in the people's strudel, than 95% of the Raw roster.
How do you know what's in his strudel?
He talks about it all the time. Don't you pay attention?
We're not talking about next week. We're talking about last week. R-Truth. You don't think that was noteworthy? His heel promo.
He waited 10 years for that promo.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, if you waited 10 years for it, you'd think he would have nailed it, right?
Well, I was around 10 years old, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know what? Good for Ron. Good for our Ron the Truth Killings, K Quick, whatever you want to call him.
He had a little bit of a Booker T feel to it. You know how Booker T goes through different types of speaking when he's speaking?
No, explain. I don't know what you're talking about.
Maybe you should watch it again.
I am not going to watch it. That was a long promo.
It was good, though. What about Little Jimmy?
Little Jimmy was funny.
If you're going to walk into the studio full of hate, could you put a sign on the door or announce something?
Listen, when it is,
everything's wrong.
No, the problem is
Or
I
at least
walk
the Fox
in.
is on SmackDown.
That is
So I have
tremendous.
to feed you these little morsels.
No, listen. You saw what happened. I walked in. Security stops me.
That is true.
I get asked 100 questions.
Yeah, it is true.
Then they want me to go through a different door.
That is
because
true.
I'm khaki.
And they
know. It's ridiculous. I couldn't believe it.
Because they are very well trained and they follow my every direction.
Yeah, I see what you're doing here.
Thanks, pals. All right, if you don't want to talk about that, we talked about Mark Henry's surprise turn. How about a little bit more there? Mark Henry could have some play in this main event matchup on the SmackDown side of things, at least for the world title, this Sunday on pay-per-view, as the focus of his aggression was Christian.
Yeah, I was kind of – it was a nice twist in that match. Because I'm thinking, oh, my God, Mark Henry's going to be in the main event on Raw. The last time he got drafted, he got involved with, I think it was Randy Orton, wasn't it? I mean, every time Mark Henry gets drafted, they give him a nice little push. And I think it's because he's one of the longer tenured guys in the company.
Yeah, he's been there since at least 98, if not 96.
And he's been making at least $1 million a year.
20-year, $1 million a year contract. You don't think they reworked that?
No.
Sexual Chocolate, Mae Young.
Who knows? But still, he got a 10-year deal for $10 million. So who cares? He's still a millionaire.
Who got a better deal, him or Taka Michinoku?
Oh, Mark Henry, absolutely.
Taka was a big deal.
Taka was chasing Val Venus's wee-wee around for way too long.
Choppy might be.
Yeah, I mean, at least Mark Henry got to do Samantha.
The highest rated segment from this past Monday night's Raw was the matchup between JR and Michael Cole.
I'm not going to talk about it.
Really?
I'm not going to.
Are you done with this? I'm done with this.
Absolutely.
Listen, let me say this. Michael Cole, I think, has performed exceptionally well in his role.
He's the top heel in the company on both shows. That's a shame. That's a shame.
Better than CM Punk?
Absolutely.
Vicky Guerrero?
Absolutely. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Michael Cole is not going to sell pay-per-views. He's not going to sell action figures. He's not going to sell T-shirts. So why do you invest so much into a guy that's not going to make you any money? I don't get it.
Well, it made some money this past Monday night. It was the highest rated segment on the show.
They could have scored a $5 million in that 3 minutes it was on. It doesn't make them any more money. So big deal. So they got a boost in the ratings. Maybe there's nothing else to watch at that moment. They just flip to the channels. Those ratings things are ridiculous. They mean absolutely nothing because it's so skewed.
A quarter-hour high does indeed mean nothing unless it happens over 2 quarters.
It's not going to happen over 2 quarters.
I'm not talking about this particular.
There's not enough. Listen, there's more people watching wrestling
Wish I could
than there
ever
are those
finish
little
a
boxes.
statement.
Well, then make a point.
What do you mean? Listen, that's how the ratings work. They can't give everybody the little box.
The ratings are flawed.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
Just because you don't like them this week, they're flawed.
I don't like them any week.
You need a nap, is what you need. You're just bitter. You're foul. You're disgruntled.
I'm not disgruntled. I'm ecstatic. I just know what I know, if you know what I mean.
Hopefully this Sunday at Extreme Rules.
I'll be at Romines watching Extreme Rules, by the way. South 27th in College.
Will be the end of that situation between Michael Cole, Jim Ross, and Jerry Lawler. Now the question is, how does Michael Cole get back behind the broadcast desk?
The same way he has every other time. He walks behind it and sits down. I
mean, out of the coal mine, going back to a play-by-play analyst.
No, the coal mine's got to stay there. They got to keep the coal mine because that'll be the next Mattel box play set. It'll be the Michael Cole coal mine with Jim Ross, Jerry Lawler, Jack Swagger, and well, now they might sell some action figures if they use that idea. And I bet you a lot of kids will buy it too. They've given it so much TV time. Why wouldn't they want to sell those gimmicks? What was that look for?
This Friday on PWR Primetime, much more detailed discussion on the draft and who we feel are the winners and the losers, and I think you'd be surprised at some of those names. Also want to remind all of you listening right now, you know you can take the show with you on the go. We are on iTunes. You can go to pwrshow.com, click on the link, hop right on over to iTunes, and subscribe to the Pro Wrestling Report so you never miss an episode, including this past Monday's post-draft show. Many of your phone calls from all over the country last Monday night. And, David Hero, we've talked a lot about the draft, and we're going to continue and end it this Friday on Primetime. But subscribe to us on iTunes. We want to thank all of you who went over and subscribed and rated the show earlier today upon our request on iTunes so that we can remain in the top 100 podcasts, sports podcasts on all of iTunes. And I'm sorry, I lost my place there. That's unprofessional.
It happens to
You're
me all the
there
time.
giving me dirty looks.
No,
I mean, you're hot in here. You're upset.
You know what?
What, David? Do you need an intervention? Oh, my God Almighty! I know why. And I should have seen this. What am I thinking? You know, it's because you're down by 15 points. It's because you're a loser. You're losing. You are sad. This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN 200 and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
I don't want to give it all to you. Yeah,
What?
I don't. I'm right here for you. I know it's going to be good to you. Yeah.
Really?
And I'll tell you why.
Welcome back to Hour 2 of the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN, ESPNMilwaukee.com, and Blog Talk Radio. We're live Wednesday, special night, special time, April 27, 2011.
Thank
Davey
God we're in
Nelson,
the second hour.
along with David Octavius and Tiberius, the hateful hero.
I'm not hateful.
You just don't know it.
I'm not Red Lantern.
Step one, admission.
That'll never happen. I never blame myself.
Sexual chocolate. You mentioned Sammy, and look what happened. At the website on PWRshow.com in the video section, that video and all of its disturbingness is there. So you can go check that out at PWRshow.com. Speaking of PWRshow.com, David Hero, brand new column, opinion section, featuring an article by you talking about the draft from this past Monday night. Look back at WrestleMania 27, an article by me. And the applications are flowing in because you can write for the Pro Wrestling Report. We're looking for people to submit their opinion columns at PWRshow.com.
You're letting anyone in the world write for PWRshow.com now?
Upon the vetting and approval process, absolutely. We're the fan show, bro.
And Cal's one of the screeners, right?
I'm not sure that he is at that level yet.
Yeah. Well, he's at a fourth grade level.
You got to get beyond intern to approve stuff like that.
Okay.
PWRshow.com is where all that information is.
Totally
and,
non-stop accepting of what you're saying.
Let's go to the phones. And you can join us on the phone lines, the number 414-276-ESPN or 1-800-990-ESPN. And let's go to a very patient Steve out in Heartland, Wisconsin. You've been waiting on line 3. You're live.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Hey,
absolutely
Steve.
tremendous.
Good. With William, I'm a big Regal mark, and with his recent move to SmackDown, and he's doing commentary for NXT, my question is, seemingly his career is, starting to come to an end. Do you think they may give him somewhat of a final push? Maybe not world, but maybe, they could build him up. They did that for a little bit on Raw before he got busted. But do you think he might be able to get any kind of push on SmackDown?
I think William Regal's going to be a player coach type guy on SmackDown. He's going to help these younger kids understand what it takes to get over.
Explain that role, because we've talked about that many times on this show. You've said Goldust is that guy as well. Sometimes the roles that people like a William Regal and a Goldust play in the company
even a
overall.
Finley,
absolutely.
Yeah, they take these younger guys and they teach them how to work. They teach them how to get as much out of the crowd as they possibly can without all these crazy high spots and bumps and whatnot. Teach them a little bit of theory. Teach them how to pace a match. How a babyface should have a real comeback. How just
it's
all
OJT,
the basics
on the job training.
Absolutely, if you will.
William Regal playing his role well on NXT. Thanks for that call, Steve, out in Harlan. So William Regal playing his role well as a commentator at NXT, and always been great. And people are looking for that match between him and Daniel Bryan.
How can you not enjoy the whole besmirched era of William Regal.
Sunshine.
He was great. You know, he had that high tea time.
Let's not forget when he was the general manager of Raw either. Slowly, soft-spoken. He's a low talker, you know.
Yes, of course.
Turn down the lights. Turn the lights off. And Raw was in the dark. Just great stuff. And nobody could have delivered it like he did.
No, of course not. It also helps to be one of Triple H's buddies.
Why do you always got to go back to that?
Because it's the truth. We speak the truth here. Not just about Ron Killings, about everything. All things good and important.
Let's go to Mike in Moreno Valley. You're live here on the Pro Wrestling Report. Well, Mike on line 1.
Tick, tick, tock.
All right, let's go ahead and give Justin on line 2 in San Antonio a try. Justin, you're live here on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Hey, guys, how's it going?
Fantastic.
Justin, I'm not pleased.
Why is that?
The Spurs have failed me.
The Spurs?
Yeah.
Oh, come on, man. That's my team.
Hey, they're my team, too. I'm not very happy with them right now.
And we got lucky, so I'll take that game.
All right.
All right, but I just want to first I just want to say I left a little picture on your wall on Facebook. I saw Cody Rhodes' action figure by itself with a Shaq figure, and I thought that would be pretty amusing. I don't know if y'all saw that yet.
Here's what happened. The interns did show me that and asked me if it could stay on the page. Here's what happened. Somebody went and found where all the old Cabbage Patch Kids were, and the empty rack there, and they moved the Cody Rhodes doll over there to make it appear as if that Cody was only left there with Shad Gaspard. That was you familiar with David Copperfield?
Yes, I am.
It was smoke and it was mirrors.
I don't think so.
I believe you, Justin.
I mean, it was just like WWE action figures. They just have those too. So I'm just saying, I don't know. If
the part that's the real shame is that was obviously at a dollar store, and the Cody Rhodes figures can't even go off the shelves in a dollar store.
I like Cody, but I just thought that was kind of amusing. But I was really calling in tonight. I was watching the draft, of course, like everybody else, and I thought SmackDown really benefited from the draft. Of course, Randy Orton was the main person that they moved over there, but I think they're going to utilize probably the Usos now, probably to get them in the tag team picture. Maybe if they decide to actually use the tag team, of course, they're going to use Daniel Bryan. He's probably going to get like a world title shot, probably one at a, probably like at a. I don't know what pay-per-view, but
I think you're reaching with that one, Justin.
Well, maybe. Well, I don't know. They probably use it for one shot, but we're probably like in a triple threat or
Hey, don't get me wrong. Like I'd love to see it, but I'm not sure.
If the Miz can get a world title match, anybody can.
Yeah, and plus SmackDown, they don't have that many, they don't have that many faces either. From what I'm looking, and so of course you're gonna see Sheamus there in the world title shot as well somewhere down the road. I just want to make a comment on that and just let y'all know that I left that picture on your wall.
Thank you very much for that warning. I'll go ahead and redirect with the interns and see that that's removed, as it is fictitious. It was photoshopped.
You know what's ridiculous is you just criticized me on the interns like 30 seconds ago.
No, I didn't say anything bad about the intern. We have a whole new batch. Mm-hmm. Cal's the only one that survived the situation from our draft.
Yeah, his job security. Because he's your little A. Riley. He's your little Cal Rye.
David Hero, there's a lot of discussion going on about TNA wrestling right now. Turmoil in TNA. Lots of rumors. People saying Dixie Carter has stepped down. No longer in charge of TNA. Eric Bischoff or Janice Carter taking over. Talk about lawsuits. One thing we know to be true is the pending workman's compensation case that Daphne has against TNA Wrestling, which is not far out of the ordinary for any business, by the way. But a lot of discussion going on out there. One thing we can confirm is being discussed is a potential rebranding of the company.
Right. That's all we truly know about him. I don't know about you, Damian Nelson, but I did, in fact, see Dixie Carter at Lockdown in Cincinnati.
I spoke to Dixie Carter 3 times, no fewer than 3 times at Lockdown.
And she seemed like
she had stepped down before that, apparently.
She seemed pretty hands-on. Now, I will say this.
She was. Don't sugarcoat it. She was involved directly with the show.
I will say this. Janice Carter is in charge of the financial aspects of TNA Wrestling. And that's Mama Bear. That's all I know as far as what.
The rumor name is Impact Wrestling. No longer Total Nonstop Action, Impact
smart.
Wrestling.
It's very smart.
Very smart. They have the domain name. They've had it since 2000, but they just updated it and updated the registry information on April 7th and just registered a trademark for that same name. So at the end of the day, smart move for TNA. That's a game
when
changer.
you go to
That's
convention
a big announcement.
to try to sell your show and you say TNA Wrestling, automatically you think Tracy Brooks and ODB.
Or you get to that office building in New York City and you've got this great product called TNA.
Yeah.
People stop listening. It's a branding strategy that hopefully they will take in that direction, and it will work for them very well. We are going to take another timeout.
Another break.
Timeout.
I'm ready to roll.
We're going to take more of your phone calls, and the conversation continues about TNA, Awesome Kong, Batista, and Extreme Rules.
Karma.
This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
Listen to Jason Wilde during Homer and the D-List weekdays on 540 ESPN.
From Montreal to Memphis, I live in France. Tell all the girls the Rougeau's on their way. All the pretty boys, we're not.
Welcome back to the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN, ESPNMilwaukee.com. Little Rougeau brother action, Angel Figueroa.
And you wonder why I criticize.
Being an old-school fan, being an old-school hero like I am,
Old-school hero?
I enjoy hearing these throwback themes, if you will, from wrestlers of old.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to sit here and hate. I'm going to appreciate.
You know, I would rather hear the Missing Links theme song than that.
From World Class?
No, from the F. I'd rather hear the Killer Bees. Just saying.
Thank you for joining us. We're going to hop back on to the phone lines, and it looks like we got Mike back from Moreno Valley. Mike, you're live on line one.
Hello, gentlemen. How you doing this evening?
I'm tremendous. Dave Hero's better.
Good, good. Dave Hero should be great. He's a god.
There we go. Feeling better now.
Mike, have you been drinking?
No, but I have been having some of David's Kool-Aid.
There you go.
Grape or red?
Red.
Excellent. What do you have for us, Mike?
Couple things. One, the WWE draft was a typical draft for me. I did kind of have reservations on Cena going from SmackDown back to Raw, but let's face it, it wasn't a situation where Triple H got drafted to SmackDown and got traded back for the Dudleys and Booker T. So, also, Mr. Nelson, you claim to be the Miz Marquis.
I am the original.
Actually, sir, I am the original.
Prove it.
Oh, boy, here we go.
Back in the real world, when Mike Mizanin...
That's when I hated him. I hated The Miz all the way through 2009. I will readily admit that. I flip-flopped on The Miz.
That's when I knew he was gold. When he went on that terror, when they took his belt...
Flip-flopping on The Miz? What the hell's going on over here?
I hated him. He was obnoxious.
Mr. Hero, the truth comes out.
No, all my words are on tape. Since 2006, go to YouTube, every episode right there, everything I said, including my hatred for Hoorah!
Well,
he was obnoxious. But now, the journey of a man, the journey of The Miz, the WWE champion.
He did develop a long way. And another thing I want to clarify, I want to take out the alleged Hall of Famer for Mr. David Hero's title.
Can you prove it?
Back when I was in high school, I used to run an organization called RHWF, Backyard Wrestling. No big promotion, but we do have a Hall of Fame, and Mr. David Hero was our first inductee.
Perfect. If that's the Hall of Fame he's in, I'm all for it. Oh,
How about that?
What was that? RIWF? RHWF. Okay, and your arena was where?
The football field, a friend's backyard,
Perfect.
Wherever we could get down.
Absolutely. I will stamp that and make it official. If you can provide me with a document that is going to prove the legality of his insertion into your Hall of Fame, which includes I'd like the long-form version of the document, please.
That can be sent to you this week. It's also on our Facebook page.
Even better, see?
Thank you very much for that call, Mike from Moreno Valley.
That means I'm in 2 Hall of Fame.
Not till I see the proof.
Oh, come on.
I want to see the original document. all I'm saying.
It's always work with you, isn't it?
Legal, bro.
Bro. All right. I get you.
We're taking your calls at number 414-276 ESPN, 276 ESPN. You're in a Yarder Hall of Fame.
You know what? Matt and Jeff Hardy started off in a backyard on trampoline.
You're way beyond starting off.
And look where they are today.
1-800-990-ESPN, 1-800-990-ESPN. Let's go to the home of many a wrestling superstar, Minnesota, including ODB. Martin, you're live.
Hey, guys.
Hello, Martin.
Hey, hey, Damien. I was the guy who called in the other night during the post show saying I did not care about the draft because of how much crossing over they've done over the years.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just wondering, can they really, if they wanted to, if they really committed themselves, they can make this draft work, and they can really keep people on different shows, especially during WrestleMania time, right? And they can make this work if they wanted to.
You know, the thing is about that, Martin, is sometimes WWE is forced into a draft. While they do it around this time every year, it happens typically between April and June. I think this Edge loss forced them into the draft earlier. Now, come WrestleMania, things could change substantially, and you might have two great stars who might work a great match and people might be able to invest in on two different brands, and you're not going to do a draft or anything at that point. You're going to do what's right for business. I don't fault WWE for not following the draft to a T. I do agree with you, though. I wish the brands mattered a little more as far as their separation, but WWE's got to make some tough decisions at times, whether it be stars that fans are attaching themselves to or not attaching themselves to, or even injuries or departures that they may not have planned for.
Okay, I get what you're saying, Damien. It's just that with me, with it being so close, with the draft being just right after WrestleMania, and how much they cross-brand the worst during WrestleMania because of getting people over for WrestleMania, getting ready for the show and everything. And I get that, but still, it's like, why should I care about something when they themselves don't care about it? But I can see when push comes to shove, when they have to do it, I get that. So,
all right.
So you've got to tell me what that is. And also, there's something I want to talk about too. It's just, I've been hearing on callers how, especially, and you guys do say how we want to see new stars, new faces, and stuff like that. And I'm one of them. But it's a lot easier said than done, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's easier said than done.
And so what is, you hear about people saying wanting new stars. What do you think we're missing the most? We don't get why we don't see new stars being made.
Martin, one of the challenges, and thank you very much for that call from Minnesota, one of the challenges with some fans is look around you. Those new stars are there. Look at WrestleMania, Alberto Del Rio, The Miz. You had people headlining, working main events, title matches at the show that a year ago might have been in the opening match or not even on the card. They are building new talents. It's not brand spanking new people. They're investing in a lot of talents and giving those talents the opportunity to prove their place and prove their worth. Fans are now looking at these new talents, saying, in the case of The Miz specifically, doesn't deserve it. In case of Alberto Del Rio, hasn't been around long enough to deserve that spot. Blah, 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 blah. A lot of fans contradict their want for new talent with their disagreement with that new talent.
You know what? Alberto Del Rio did a far better job of getting over than The Miz. If you really think about it.
Absolutely.
He was on the B show.
Well, it wasn't for me. The Miz
really wasn't given that much of a chance. They gave him a gimmick that they didn't really put a whole lot behind.
But when you first saw that entrance, did you not know he was a star?
No, I did not know he was a star. Yeah.
I bought in right away.
Oh, that's you.
I said, this is elaborate. I'm all about the show, the sizzle, not necessarily the steak.
Mm-hmm.
And from the first time I saw him, well, wow, this is pretty dang on impressive. Guy's on ring announcer. He's got the scarf, his plates, the car, the video, the vignette.
The scarf is what sold me. Anyone that can pull off a scarf like that's a star.
I think you were making a point. Did you want to finish? I'm sorry.
Because you cut me off and you interrupted. It's like, you know what? It defeats the purpose now. Because now the steam is gone.
There's steam in here.
You once again derailed because you get all overly defensive about your boy, The Miz, who, forget it, next week.
Who you drafted. Yeah, right. My boy, The Miz. I'm done.
I did draft
I
him.
moved on. I've done what I needed to do with The Miz.
Why wouldn't I draft a world champion?
Because I'm done talking about your roster, all right? People want to hear about the Nelson family, not the Mighty Mouse Club?
The Super Friends.
The Mighty Mouse Club.
Doesn't matter. He's awesome, too. You wish you had his cheese. Have you seen who he goes out with?
414-276-ESPN all over the world, 1-800-990-ESPN. We're also on Twitter. Our Twitter name, @PWR Show. One comment from the Only Me I Know username.
That's his comment? See? Does the Nelson family have a theme song?
If we could somehow or another...
Does he? No. There's no theme song for the Nelson family.
If we could somehow or another work in Chili Willy the Penguin into this show, I think we will be complete. The Only Me I Know on Twitter saying, thank you for that, Tillman behind the glass. The Only Me I Know saying, reference our conversation on TNA earlier, if they did switch the figurehead of the company at TNA, then it's really becoming like WCW. I'm not sure the comparisons of WCW to TNA are valid. TNA is much closer to ECW than it is to WCW, true?
No.
Really?
No, because TNA's paycheck's clear. That's the main difference.
We're going to take a timeout. I think when we come back, it's the superhero pick of the week song.
I get to choose the music?
Well, yeah, you've been going back and forth during every break talking to Tillman about, picking song list and whatnot because you don't know what to pick.
It's important for me.
That happens when we come back. This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
540 ESPN. 540 ESPN Text Club members get the breaking news on the Packers, Brewers, Badgers, and Bucks. Sign up today at ESPNMilwaukee.com.
Come on. Come on. Come on.
Hey!
How about that?
I feel like I'm back in Vegas.
I feel like I'm back in Atlanta. That club we went to?
Whoa! You went to that club that shares the title name of this song. And I didn't realize that all that was going down over there, brother.
Amigo, it's WrestleMania. It's all about the experience.
Yeah, but the wrestlers should be wrestling in the ring, not you in a club.
I was not wrestling in a club, dude.
There is a country women match this Sunday on the Extreme Rules.
I was a special guest ring announcer. You're just jealous because you weren't invited.
So this is the superhero song of the week.
It's Rihanna. It's every week. It's Rihanna.
It's a great song. I'll give you that. Thank you very much for tuning in. This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report.
It's about chains and whips.
We're live on 540 ESPN, ESPNMilwaukee.com, and Blog Talk Radio. I want to remind you to subscribe to the show on iTunes. Never miss an episode of the Pro Wrestling Report. And also to let you know, we'll be live this Sunday after WWE's Extreme Rules on pay-per-view. 10 o'clock p.m. exclusively on Blog Talk Radio. Take your phone calls. Talk about the event as it happened. See if your Be the Booker that we're going to see this Friday on primetime happened the same way that you would have seen it happen, as you said in Be the Booker. That was a very confusing way to say that. We'll just see how it all turned out.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I even will DWHS something. How about that?
And able to be able to not forget that show by following the show on Blog Talk Radio. We talked about Awesome Kong earlier, David Hero, and while we now know that Awesome Kong will be clearly coming into WWE sooner than later, we now know the name, which is Karma, and ain't Karma
What do you mean?
Well, I can't say that, Ever since that incident, we're limited in our language here.
Yes, you are limited in your language.
But Karma coming into WWE, Awesome Kong's new name. Not sure which brand she's going to be on. You would have to assume Raw, even though we've seen the vignettes on both SmackDown and Raw. You've been talking a lot about Awesome Kong and Karma over the last few weeks, running through, mowing down the divas in WWE. We saw Beth Phoenix drafted to Raw this past Tuesday in the supplemental. Gail Kim, obviously on Raw. Awesome Kong and Gail Kim arguably built the Knockouts division in TNA. What do you see? What's next? Or what's first for Karma?
Bella Twins or Kelly? Take your pick. going to squash the little ones, work her way up maybe through a Gail Kim program, and eventually will wind up with Beth Phoenix at WrestleMania.
Wow, you just gave it a year?
Why not?
How long can Karma blow through the Divas before it gets way old?
Well, you got Gail Kim, you got the Bellas, you have Eve.
3 weeks, 4 weeks.
You have Layla.
5 weeks.
She'll be there. Michael Cole.
6 weeks.
You know she's going to get Michael Cole.
Michael Cole again this past Monday night interrupted a Divas Championship matchup.
Yeah.
And that hasn't been talked about as much as it should be, which means it's going to be.
Did you notice now how Eve is auditioning to be a part of Super Friends by wearing a Wonder Woman type gimmick to the ring?
Super what?
Super Friends.
Oh,
Super
the Mighty
Friends.
Mouse Club.
The Mighty Mouse Club. You're such a...
I don't think it can go that far. I don't think we get a year out of this.
Why
I think
not?
she has to come in, plot on the competition, get stopped, have a program, have a series of matches with somebody, and bring up or show some of the wrestling talents that some of those other divas do have that can be brought out by the likes of a Karma. Karma's not going to be doing photo shoots. Well, but there is a category of society that might be into that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, I like it. Come on.
Be nice. Be nice about Rihanna. You know she listens.
I have absolutely no problem with Rihanna. One of the most talented people out there today.
Absolutely. Looks great on the cover of Rolling Stone, too, by the way.
They still publish that?
Well, I have a copy. It's published weekly.
Well, clearly you're distracted now. Too distracted to talk about Karma.
Not at all. Why would I want to talk about Karma after we have Rihanna on? Really?
Batista.
Even better. There we go. You are way too much.
Says he had a deal with Strikeforce. As you know, UFC
I thought
purchased.
they were retired.
As you know, UFC purchased Strikeforce a couple of weeks back.
I Martel and Santana. Girls and Cars. You know, honest to God, the first time I heard about Strikeforce, I'm like, that's kind of a silly name. What the hell's a Strikeforce? And then I automatically thought of Jimmy Hart's Girls and Cars.
Strikeforce or the Can-Am Connection?
Oh, Can-Am Connection was far better than Strikeforce.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Orient Express or Strikeforce?
Strikeforce. Rick Martel was a stud.
Yes, he was a model, too.
Yeah, he was. He was great. Former AWA World Champion.
Here's a question. As you talk about Rick Martel, anytime I think of Rick Martel, I think arrogance.
Yeah, the cologne.
Between Piper's Pit, the Brother Love Show, the Barber Shop, the Snake Pit, the Funeral Parlor, barring Hogan Andre, which happened in Piper's Pit, barring the Coconut Incident, which happened in Piper's Pit, each one of those has that memorable moment that happened in that setting. Marty Jannetty through the plate glass window. The Ultimate Warrior destroying Brother Love's set the last time the Brother Love show happened. Mm-hmm. Rick Martel spraying arrogance in the face of Jake the Snake on the Brother Love show. So much happened. You're looking at me like, where am I going?
Yeah, where are you going?
Just great stuff used to happen. What is now happening backstage or in comedy bits used to happen so much better in front of the audience in these great shows or vignettes that served a purpose overall for the company and not just for that particular talent.
And the amazing thing is back then they did a 4 or 5 minute interview spot, vignette, whatever you want to call it, and that got a storyline over far more than anything you see on TV today.
Yep. And Brother Love never let anybody answer the questions on the Brother Love show.
I saw Brother Love in Cincinnati.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Makeup, suit, and all?
No, just chilling in a Hawaiian shirt.
What was the random Raw where Brother Love made his return? There was a random Raw, maybe the 15th anniversary or the 900th episode or whatever.
It was one of those. Brother Love. That was a hell of a gimmick.
Yeah, it was.
He drew a ton of heat.
Absolutely, he did. Here on the Brother Love. Can you tell me, can we get a little Brother Love music? Why not? I love you.
Really? Come on. No, he was a great character. I mean, he brought in The Undertaker, and then eventually stole him to Paul Bearer.
Ted DiBiase was Brother Love's benefactor. And the music played over the whole segment.
Time, yeah. Much like I have a funny thing to happen tonight.
Was this was this before or after the Jimmy Swaggart incident?
It was right after.
Was it? Oh,
yeah.
Perfect.
Of course it was. Why wouldn't it be? Vinnie Mac knows how to create stars. He does. Everyone hated Brother Love. You know,
but he loved
He loved everybody. He did. He had the red face paint gimmick going and the white suit and pink shirt. You know, Kaz kind of had that gimmick going at one time, too.
Oh, he's being Brother Love probably right about now.
Oh, it is that. Oh, it is almost midnight. He better hurry before his car turns back into the pumpkin tonight. He took his Altoids, right?
Coming up Friday on PWR Primetime. Lots of discussion, David Hero, about CM Punk. Don't spoil it. We'll talk about it Friday, about whether or not he's going to continue in his career in WWE. You know, the interns prepared a lot of internet rumors for us to debunk this week.
Yes.
Just saying. And Jay Lethal gone from TNA Wrestling. We'll talk about that Friday on Primetime as well, and along with more detailed discussion on the 2011 WWE Draft. This Sunday is Extreme Rules on pay-per-view, a pay-per-view that's very difficult to predict what's going to happen because of the flux, if you will, that a lot of the talents are in on that pay-per-view, because in some matches, ADR and Christian, for instance, half of them's on Raw, half of them's on SmackDown.
Big Show and Kane are split up.
Absolutely. So some things may seem obvious, but at the same time, to the point of the caller earlier, Martin from Minnesota, I believe anything can happen, and especially in the case of unified tag team titles, they can work both shows. And the Divas champion, while the belt's not on the line, can also work both shows. But
isn't that amazing how the Divas champion is not even on the pay-per-view?
Nor is the Intercontinental champion. Nor is the United States of America champion.
Brutal.
The tag and former tag team champions are the Damian Nelson endorsed.
Endorsed?
Endorphine. The Damian Nelson endorsed Heath Slater and his partner Justin Gabriel. Frank Cosentino's next big thing in 2011.
Yes, it is.
I hope somebody didn't need this.
And they shouldn't have left it here. I'm a scribbler.
On that note,
focus.
We are going to take our final time out of the evening.
You know what? You need to put the S&M video on the PWR show site.
That's illegal. You're trying to get us sued again?
People can appreciate.
You have all these great ideas until, somebody actually decides to ask legal.
It's just a letter. That's all it is. You don't have to open it. Then it doesn't exist.
When they show up at your door,
Don't
your
answer.
office,
Don't answer.
and hand you the envelope, it's been served.
Say no.
This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN at ESPNMilwaukee.com.
540 ESPN.
Oh, radio, tell me everything you know. I like to sing with the radio. I like to play it real loud. I like to drive with the top down, rolling like thunder, always drawing a crowd. Every babe's gonna want a piece.
Welcome back to the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. ESPNMilwaukee.com, and live on Blog Talk Radio.
Someone actually picked Kurt Hawkins' theme music tonight?
David Hero, this is Zack Ryder. Woo, 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 you know it.
Aren't they the same guy?
No. Zack Ryder's a YouTube sensation.
Oh, I remember Zack Ryder now. I remember him. He helped me out at the in Atlanta.
He's got the Z True Long Island Story episodes up to episode number 10 now, growing a lot of speed on YouTube, and selecting that theme this evening on our Facebook page, Facebook.com Pro Wrestling Report, was Travis Griggs. Travis Griggs. Thank you very much to all of you who submitted your suggestions for theme songs to be used on the Pro Wrestling Report.
These guys were a tag team at one time, right?
Yes.
Hawkins and Ryder?
Yes. You've seen Zach's Z True Long Island Story episodes. As a matter of fact, we watched episode 10 tonight. Some good stuff.
He's a funny guy.
Now, I wonder,
Banging
though.
Princess Leia. Wait a minute. Frank's with Princess Leia tonight.
Very well thought out videos, very well produced videos, very well executed videos, and videos exceeding the expectations, I think, of a lot of people. They're good. It's good stuff. Which begs the question.
That's how Morrison and Miz started.
Exactly. It wasn't necessarily on YouTube, but yes, exactly. Will this be something that translates onto WWE programming, whether it be even in their website, or does Zack Ryder get something out of this? Because in the Internet wrestling community, there's a lot of discussion about Zack Ryder.
But let's not forget, if Vince McMahon doesn't create it, he's not a big fan of it.
True. But isn't it safe to assume WWE is either behind or knows of this or has endorsed this?
Well, they know about it because it's their talent. They all sign those agreements.
And you got Scott Stanford also participating in these?
Who?
He's a broadcaster for WWE, also a sportscaster on the East Coast.
Never heard of the guy.
Do you watch wrestling?
I do, but I don't know who.
Can you do me this favor?
Yeah.
All right. This week I want you to watch. Listen, this week I want you to watch at least 4 minutes of NXT and at least 3 minutes of Superstars. Can you commit to doing that for me, please?
Well, first
we're off next week. No ESPN radio broadcast next week. Brewers are playing every night. We can't get anywhere we fit in, but we will have the post show Sunday after Extreme Rules. You'll be on that. We'll go full show with that to fill the void. So next week when you have some time, be like when Sean gave Sid the night off, just don't powerbomb me 5 times.
We're not going to be on next week?
We're not going to be on next week. Primetime will be there and the post show will be there.
Okay.
4 minutes of Superstars, 3 minutes of
feelings
SmackDown. I'm sorry, 3 minutes of NXT.
Okay.
Can you do that?
You know what? It depends who's on.
You still have internet, right?
Absolutely. Who's on Superstars?
Watch that show in months.
Kurt Hawkins? Is he on Superstars?
Probably.
So with my luck, I'll turn into Kurt Hawkins versus Tyler Rex. That's what I'll wind up watching.
But you only have to watch a few minutes of it.
Bro!
Will this work for Zack Ryder? Will it do anything for him?
I think it already is doing something for him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know what? The kid's talented. Hopefully they can use it and roll with it and do something good with it.
But isn't this a prime example of the star stepping up and showing his talent and showing what he can do?
Absolutely.
Making himself get noticed, not waiting for somebody to do it for him.
Agreed.
2010, Extreme Rules, as we go into the 2011 version this Sunday night on pay-per-view. David, here, I think it's important to take a look back and look back at some of the stars that were featured on last year's event versus those that are on this year's event. What are you doing?
I just think it's pretty funny.
This is radio, you know.
I know it is.
A couple of the matches on Extreme Rules last night. I'm sorry, last year, 2010.
Timing. Let me just say this. Timing is everything. That's all I gotta say.
CM Punk defeated Rey Mysterio last year at Extreme Rules.
Mm-hmm.
Both still around, both still playing prominent roles in WWE. Jack Swagger defeated Randy Orton last year. Jack Swagger retaining the World Heavyweight Championship at the time.
Yes, Jack Swagger's my guy.
Sheamus defeated the King of Kings, Triple H, 1 year ago.
Yes.
Triple H now on hiatus or appearing every now and again for WWE. Edge defeated Chris Jericho in a cage match, both men gone. But Chris Jericho has teased that he said he's going to come back. He said he needs something to do on Sunday, or asked the question on Twitter, rather, anything going on in Tampa Sunday. Chris Jericho apparently lives in Tampa.
He lives in Tampa. You know,
right down the road. Would they do it?
Up. He might not be. Imagine this. Chris Jericho at The Rock's birthday party. Remember how Jericho first made his mark on Raw? With The Rock.
Who in the blue hell are you? I think that was the first It Doesn't Matter. August 1999, Allstate Arena. I was there. So will you stop? Will you stop?
Oh, my gosh. I'm not doing anything.
John Cena retained the WWE Championship over Batista.
Yes.
Batista gone. Jericho gone. Edge gone.
Didn't Batista quit after that?
I believe it was the next night, maybe, where he sat in the middle of the ring and quit on Raw.
Yeah, he's done. Have we missed him in the past year?
You know what? Batista, at his departure from WWE, was my favorite version of Batista his entire time in WWE.
You didn't like him as Deacon Batista with the collection box around his throat?
No.
Him and Brother Devon?
No. Didn't do anything for me.
Okay.
We gotta get Zack Ryder on this.
Voice? My God, take it easy. Uh-oh. There goes the button.
We got to get Zack Ryder on the show.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to effort that.
Okay.
We're big on YouTube.
We're human. Hey, the PWR show Draft, humongous on YouTube.
We got over 5 million views on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Most cumulative views of any wrestling show on YouTube.
Hands
wrestling
down.
news show.
Hands down.
I think there's a connection there.
You and Zack Ryder have a connection.
Let me talk a little bit about. I got a question for you there, David Hero. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Got a question. What's this? This picture you're sending out of you and Elijah Burke. You and the Black Pope.
You know what? The Pope and I,
my number 10.
We had a chat. He wanted to.
He still hates you.
No, you know what? It's not as bad as you think. He asked me why I didn't draft him on Super Friends, and I told him, I said, "Hey, Pope, listen, I didn't want to go there with him because Cal was there." He's like, "Daddy, tell me," and I was like, "I only draft main eventers, and I just know he's not going to main event a TNA pay-per-view anytime soon. That's all."
Kurt Hawkins just tweeted out, "Missing the shows this week is breaking my heart."
Well, you could listen to this one.
The show he's talking about is brand new rock band show.
Uh-huh. Rock band?
Rock band.
What is that?
I don't know, David.
I don't know what a rock band is.
A year later, that's the purpose of looking back at 2010's Extreme Rules. The company changes substantially into the points that were made earlier.
How does
the
it feel that... Oh, stop. Your number 10 pick asked about being on Super Friends.
You're lying. He doesn't want to be a mouse.
You know what? I will get the Pope on in the next couple weeks.
No, you won't do anything.
Yes, I will.
No, because guess what?
What?
Clearinghouse. Right here.
What is that, sweepstakes?
I'm not knocking on no doors with a big check.
It'd be kind of cool if you did.
If the Pope's going to be on this program, this guy, my thumbs are behind my back, is going to make it happen.
Is that where you want your thumbs? Really? The wheels have rolled off the bus.
No, you're trying to take the wheels off the bus.
No,
and
I'm not.
Are we 3 minutes out yet?
No, not yet, but we did find the theme of who Kurt Hawkins is facing next.
Please, let me hear it.
Yeah.
Is this the Nelson family theme song? Really?
Do you remember the phone in the ice?
Never watched it. What is it?
Don't you dare!
I'm serious.
You have seen Chili Willy.
No, I haven't.
Twitter challenge right now. If you have seen Chili Willy the Penguin, send me a tweet at Damian Nelson on Twitter. You've never seen Chili Willy? Tell me you've seen Chili Willy. If you've seen Mighty Mouse, you've seen Chili Willy. If you've seen Jabberjaw, you've seen Chili. He was a penguin who had a phone that he dialed people with.
I thought Chili Willy was a guy in ECW. He wasn't?
Yes, he was.
What are you getting all hot about?
I am sweating in here because of your insolence.
My insolence? What, you got cotton candy laying around somewhere?
And no, Chili Willy is not my theme song.
I didn't say it was yours. Was it Team Nelson or the Nelson family? You know what? You need
I tried
to
keep this all on the up and up because you've just been out of control lately, and you just hijacked. You just hijacked. You you busted right through that door. And you hijacked the show.
Wow, it is because of who I am. Jeez, marhaba hamdallah, keep halak, amigo. Jeez.
If I just got cussed out, we got heat.
Oh, there's plenty of heat in here.
WWE Extreme Rules this Sunday on pay-per-view. David Hero, I think this is going to be a great show.
I think it's going to be absolutely tremendous. Alberto Del Rio.
I think a lot of questions are going to be answered as well. And you can check out Be the Booker for WWE Extreme Rules this Friday on demand at pwrshow.com. Facebook and Twitter followers get the first look at each episode each week.
Also Friday at Circle B in Cedarburg, Al Snow and Head for Great Lakes Championship Wrestling. Tickets start at only $10. Go to blizzardbrawl.com. Bell time is 7:30. It's only about 20 minutes north of Milwaukee. It's going to be tremendous.
Next time we'll be with you on radio is Sunday after Extreme Rules, the post show on Blog Talk Radio, PWR on ESPN. PWR on 540 ESPN returns on Wednesday, May 11th, 2 weeks from now, 10 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, due to NBA playoffs next week. So, Thank you so much for tuning in to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. For the cause, Linda Kay and David Octavius Tiberius, the Yarder Hall of Famer. This is Damian Nelson saying, be sure to follow the show and subscribe to the show on iTunes so that you never miss an episode. It's all about iTunes.
I'm in 2 Hall of Fames. It's all about Hall of Famers.
Until I see the stamped long-form version of the document,
I'll just bring the plaque
from the RHWS.
I got a ring, too.
I want to see proof.
A ring and a plaque is pretty good proof.
Until I see proof, and then I'm going to want more proof. And until I see that proof, it's not
What,
valid.
you want a birth certificate also on that?
No, I think that's rude to ask for that.
Oh, okay. Sure it is.
If I ask for yours, I should ask for Frank's, I should ask for Linda's, I should ask for Tillman's and everybody, shouldn't I?
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. I'd ask for Tillman's also.
Thank you so much for joining us here on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN, live all over the world at ESPNMilwaukee.com. We'll see you Sunday after WWE Extreme Rules.